Look, I know what day it is, and I know what the title says. However, there are numerous reasons right now to why the video is coming out now, okay? I mean, none that I can really think of, but there are reasons. But hey, to be nice to you guys, I'm gonna do a commentary over this one. Mainly because there was a lot of changes and constant redos, and I don't know, this one actually feels like I can put some more effort into it compared to the last one where I just used references and drew what I wanted. So obviously this is sped up by 10 times because it was so long. But for the first couple minutes, like first 5 minutes, I started picking out a color palette. I found one I liked. It was very generic. It was very broad too, but it worked. Then I started like shaping out lines because the original idea, there was a reference I'm gonna pop on screen here, where it was just hearts and it had like basically like these vertical or slanted lines, I think. And then just like, oh, they're in their own boxes, and that looked cool to me. I was like, oh, I want to do something like that. And then well, obviously things evolved, and then I went, oh great, you know what? I'll just do one solid background, and then they all connect to each other. I thought that was a good idea, so I started like connecting it like that, I guess, and it looked really good. So I kept with the idea like the entire way through. I just like kept with the idea like, oh, I'm gonna connect, and I like obviously I didn't want to like have to draw it all, so I just control C, control V, which you're gonna see a lot because it's like there's no purpose in like doing every single pixel if I can just copy and paste. And I know it just referenced briefly the idea of a reference, and I think for a lot of people who don't really know much about pixel art, they immediately think, oh well, a reference, it must be like pixelated, you must get like pixel references. It's like, no. I feel like you can look up like a pixel art version of what you're looking for as long as you stylize it and make it your own, because otherwise you're essentially just taking their guy's design. So usually when I do it, I usually just look for the actual representation of what I'm looking for. You know what I'm saying? So like with the previous reference that I had, it wasn't pixel art. It was just like, oh, I saw stripes. And, clearly vertical stripes are very hard to do. I said, okay, horizontal looks really good. It gives sort of this definition in the image itself. And the fact that it works with the colors I've chosen, because, I feel like, in my personal opinion, stripes work the best with bright things, with then really low things. I don't know how to phrase that. Bright stripes work best with dark stripes because it then gives the idea of it popping out. So if you look at every color I choose, I don't go for like an orange because I feel like a bright orange to a dark orange, like there's a lot of contrast there, there's a lot of difference, but there's not as much difference as there is a bright red and a dark red. I assume that's sort of the theme with the rest of the palette. The only exception to this rule is purple, and I just chose purple because it flowed so nicely from blue into it. So yeah, that's the story with essentially why the colors are chosen. It's really based off the design of the stripes. But like honestly, if I'm being honest, like when you look at this, you're not thinking that. You're not thinking, oh, the stripes are influencing my ability and the idea of it. No, essentially you're just going, oh yeah, bright color on dark color look good. Like your monkey brain kicks in and you go, oh yeah, this nice. So obviously this is all pre-recorded. In fact, the previous lines that I just said were recorded before this line. So I recorded those lines, put them in, and now I switched over to record these lines. I didn't write anything down. I just am free flowing based off what I see, based on what I felt then, what I'm feeling now about it's not really a piece, I guess the image, right? It's an image, it's not really a piece, the image. And there's really nothing coming up in like the next minute and a half. So I'm just basically stalling for time trying to find something. But there is one part that comes up where I realize, oh yeah, this is not gonna fit. And then I just think, what am I going to do? Am I going to continue to design? Am I going to restart from the drawing board and then try to fit the design in? And I think I just eventually just go with, screw it, let's just continue to design and let's try it out, see how good it looks. And it's only like 2 things. And then I think was also contemplating what choice of, like, obviously, like, what color am I gonna use? Because there was no, like, obviously I used all the big colors that really pop out, like red, blue, green, and yellow. It's like there's no really like big color in that sphere, right? In a sense, because I used the 3 primaries and then I used green, which isn't a primary, by the way. in case you didn't know, it's not a primary. But I use green because green is such a very bright color. And I think the purple is a good choice. And why I chose purple is purple's different enough from blue, but similar enough with the rest of the colors that just adding it was bright enough. Purple's that balance between like the warm colors and the cold colors, in a sense, for me. I don't know. I guess purple is like a very warm color, but it's also a very cold color. I don't know how else to put it. I don't know, like, on the color wheel, if, like, purple is in the middle between a warm color and a cold color. But, like, anyway, around this point, I go, like, I don't know. I saw that, but I saw another reference where it was, like, a big heart in the middle, and I was like, oh, I kind of want to do that. And I was, like, trying to figure out the dimensions and the size, right? So I was like, okay, I'll just, go all the way down, go all the way up. The exact dimensions of like the small heart that I originally did times, I think originally was 5, and then I went, no, that doesn't work. Then it became 6, and eventually 7. I don't know. This entire part is me trying to figure out how to, draw this heart bigger, or draw a bigger heart in general, and like I'm just keep failing over and over and over and over again, and eventually I'm just like, oh wait, I can resize things. So I Control C, Control V, resize it. But I then think, okay, I'm just gonna lay out a box in which this is gonna reside in, as like a placeholder for how big the heart's gonna be, and then I'll remove this layer that has it, or hide the layer, in a sense, right? So on my part, I went, this is gonna work. This is gonna be great. And to my surprise, it eventually does kind of work out. I was a little disappointed in how it looked, but it did work out, and it worked out fine. And this is actually, this is the exact size. But look, this is how it worked. I was like, ugh, that's a little disappointing, but whatever. Perfectly colored, removed it, then colored it in white, because like the brightness of the white made such a difference. And then I low-key struggled with trying to just make it cracked. I just couldn't find a way to make the crack look authentic in it, right? So I was like, oh, I'll just draw it in. Didn't look good. It looked just like, I don't know, it looked awful. So then I individually went down, drew it a certain amount of pixels, and then I saw like on like my references of cracks that they get smaller as they go down. So the idea was, as it went down, make it smaller, and then it just looks so good. But it did look a little like too thin at the bottom that I wanted to try and make it bigger. That failed, so restarted. And then, I got to this part where I'm adding blood, and I just felt like, yeah, that looks so good when I zoomed out. Little known fact, if you're wondering why, when I zoom out, it goes to a different, like a stretched in layer. Apparently there's some glitch with the software I use that if you make something big or you stretch it, it'll stretch parts of the background. And yeah, so this is basically like the finished thing. I added a like dripping effect to, give it a little bit more effect, and then like a little pull at the bottom to really finish it off. And yeah, so thanks for watching. I'm going to put up about here right now on the screen the actual thing, not in the software, and actually finished, like the actual picture that I downloaded onto my computer. And I hope you like it. I don't really know if I'm gonna do anything with this or the other one, I could probably throw them on the Instagram. The old Insta, one would say. Yeah, if you guys have any like ideas, anything to inspire me, like if you have any like certain media you want me to check out and maybe that'll inspire me for something else, I'm so down. And yeah, thank you for watching.